A predatory Wallasey Paedophile sex offender, Brandon Ormond, assaulted a missing 15-year-old girl after finding her alone at night. Brandon Ormond, aged 29, persuaded his victim of his benevolence after encountering her on the street and distributing religious literature. He thereafter transported the susceptible adolescent to a remote location adjacent to a beach, where he perpetrated a sequence of abhorrent sexual activities upon her. After having deserted her again in the early hours, she was ultimately located by cops in distress near a Morrisons store. Yesterday afternoon, Liverpool Crown Court was informed that the adolescent had disappeared from home before taking a bus to New Brighton, Wirral, arriving at approximately 10:30 p.m. She was then located by police at around 6 a.m. the following day, at which stage she became visibly upset and disclosed to officers that she had been subjected to a sexual assault. Francis Wilmart, prosecuting, described how the girl went on detail how Brandon Ormond, of Ripon Road in Wallasey, had approached her and began talking to her. Despite having been initially wary of him, the 29-year-old went on to tell her that he was a Christian and gave her a religious leaflet, which made her think he was a good person. The two thereafter sat on a bench, where the defendant asked if he could put his arm around her while saying it was cold. Brandon Ormond subsequently suggested that they move to an underpass near to the beach as it would be warmer, then began kissing the schoolgirl in this location in spite of being told of her young age. Having subsequently asked if she wanted to have sex, he pulled down his trousers and performed a sexual act upon her and told her he thought she was fit before being disturbed by a barking dog. Brandon Ormond thereafter departed from the girl and returned home at approximately 3:30 a.m., allowing her to walk alone to the neighboring Morrisons store before being discovered by police at dawn. Upon identification and arrest, he informed officers that he presumed the complainant was homeless and 18 years old. Upon analysis of his phone, numerous images depicting partially clothed young girls in sexualized poses were discovered. The photographs did not lead to criminal prosecution, as they were not classified as indecent images by law. Brandon Ormond confessed to 2 charges of sexual conduct with a minor and inducing a minor to participate in sexual activity. He appeared via video link to HMP Liverpool, clad in a navy blue regatta fleece and displaying a cross around his neck, and was sentenced to 38 months in prison. Sentencing, Judge David Swinnerton said, "You were 29 when you sexually abused," victim's name, who was 15 years of age, although that was not the sum total of her vulnerabilities. "You have no previous convictions, and that is something that I will take into account in your favor." She ran away from home. She traveled to New Brighton, where, in what must have been the early hours of the morning, you came across her alone. I do not know how much time you spent with her, but you left her alone at 3:30 in the morning. It must have been obvious to you quite quickly that she was young, and she told you that she was 15. It must have been obvious to you that she was vulnerable from the fact that it was cold. She was somebody who needed your help. It should have been obvious to you that she had other difficulties. Yet, despite that, rather than taking her to a police station or calling the police, you invited her to come down an underpass onto the beach, where you sat with her. From that moment, you were preying on her vulnerability. You need to be aware of the impact that you have had. Her life, her self-esteem, her self-confidence, her ability to cope with the world and others, all of this has been compromised by what you did to her. You were under the influence of alcohol. You have sought help while in custody. I think you say that you had something like 6 cans before you committed these offenses. I take into account that you show some remorse. You yourself come from a background which was, in some ways, difficult. I am satisfied that you do show an interest sexually in young girls. Brandon Ormond was also handed an indefinite sexual harm prevention order. He will be required to sign the sex offenders register for life.